everybody, welcome to the show. I'm back with Neil Mcdonald from Megalithic Tours, and we thought we'd start doing a series on the tarot. And the first card in the major arcana, nearly said that wrong, is the Fool. So we thought today we'll discuss the Fool. So Neil, thank you for talking to us, and please tell us about the Fool card.
Okay, well, thanks for inviting me back. We're kind of carrying on from the Prima Materia session we did a couple of weeks ago, aren't we? But so our first card is the Fool. Can you see it okay there?
Right, I have to go forward just a little bit. That's it.
There you go. So what does the Fool represent? We're going to have a sore arm by the end of this, by the way. So the Fool represents the life force, basically. And he's about to set off on a journey. And he's just got back from a journey. You can see that he's at the top of a mountain here, looking into the valley. So it's the life force on it. He's been on a journey of consciousness and a journey of learning, and he's about to set off on another one. Now,
can I ask, why is it called the Zero?
I'm going to go through, I will get there.
I'm jumping ahead.
I will get there very, very, very soon. I'm going to go through every little bit.
Okay.
Well, most of them anyway. But the Zero. Well, the Zero actually, now you've said that, it's every card has a number, every card has a name, and every card has a Hebrew letter. Okay.
Aleph.
Now, the Aleph is the one for this. Yeah, you know that. Yeah, good. So Naught is actually outside because he's not on the journey. He's just got back and he's ready to go on another one. So he's poised. He's ready to go. So because it's Naught and he's not on the journey, he's not in the tarot tableau, which is behind you at the moment. So can I borrow it?
Yes, I've got the tableau of the tarot behind me here. It might be flipping a bit. I couldn't fit it all
fantastic.
in.
So here we have the tableau, okay? Introducing the tarot tableau. So you see that the Fool here stands at the top. He's out of the way. By the way, I say he, but when you look closely, it's neither male nor female. It's an androgyny. So the tarot is the person who's looking at it, basically. It's the holy androgyny, the meeting of the coming together of the two opposites. Okay. So there we go. We have the Fool at the top, and then we have 3 rows of 8 cards. So we'll go to a little bit further. The top row represents powers, okay, powers or potencies. The second row represents laws or agencies, and the bottom row represents conditions or effects, really. And you can use the tarot tableau with these 3 in mind, as well as other things, to create or as part of your own journeys. I'll give you an example. So you've got this. Let's take this row here because it's the first one. The magician. If you take the power that is represented by the magician and use the agency or the law that's represented by strength, number 8. You can use that to affect the bottom, the condition or the thing that is represented by the devil, and you can do that through meditation on each row, and also different ways. So that's an important thing about the tableau. The other important thing is a bit of a kind of a way of not warning, but sort of what's the word? Kind of a suggestion to bear in mind. And that is the law of the double minus double. And so the central row here, now this is key 4. Okay.
So what's now, that, if you look,
yeah, that is the emperor. Right. That's the emperor. Okay.
Just for those that can't see it or don't know their cards,
yeah,
we're talking about the emperor.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter at all. It's really about the numbers, because the numbers start here and go to 8.
Oh, I see.
And then Go to 7, 8 to 15, 15 to 21.
Mhm.
So this number here is 4, and each double, like that one and that one, they add up to 8. So divide it by 2, and it's 4. You've got 6 and 2. Divide it into 2. Divide it into 8 and 2 again. You got 4, and that carries on that row and on that row, with this one in the centre here. So the centre is 11, which is the most important for what I'm speaking of now. And so you've got 22, 11, 22, 11, and then the same happens at the bottom, okay? But the central card here is what everything revolves around. So if you take number 21, which is the world, and then you've got the magician 1, that's 22, half of that is 11, and that works on every single double in this way, and also across. So that is saying, what you do with this tarot, the central feature is 11, and that is justice. So basically, it's a little warning that be careful what you wish for, because karma is there at the center of the whole thing.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought of it like that before, that the justice is the middle card, yes.
Yeah,
because
and everything.
As you say, it is, you have to be careful what you wish for. And I suppose in a way you should be using your conscience, shouldn't you, to decide what it is that you want to do.
Yeah, you've got to use your discernment to make sure what you're doing is for the good, because justice is there waiting for you.
And we should all be judged. Every one of us, we are all judged.
I think we are all the time, aren't we? So back to the Fool. Here we are again. Here's our Fool back again. So as we said, every card has a number, it has a name, and it has a Hebrew letter. So we were saying, you asked about the note. So that is the cosmic egg. The cosmic egg, this is the big egg, the big round thing that contains everything, for those who haven't heard of the cosmic egg before. So this is the no thing that all things proceed from. Okay. It's the existence before manifestation, and it's the unity of the primal will that imprints on the prima materia. That sounds a bit gobbledygook, doesn't it? But we spoke of the prima materia in the last talk, which is that's everything around us. There's that one material that everything is formed of, and it's your will that imprints onto that prima materia that brings things into manifestation. Okay, so it stands for also ruach, which is the life breath. That's the main representation. It's a life breath, and here it is before its journey, or spirit, life breath or spirit. Now, this is the Hebrew letter. That's Aleph. So what does that mean? Well, that's the ox, or the bull, which became the ox. So what does the ox stand for? Well, that's the latent power, because the ox was in history, it was the animal that was used to transform nature. So everything it would, because it had the plough, it dug up the land. So man would use the ox to bring into manifestation and maneuver nature, or maneuver the substance of his surroundings. So that is basically what Aleph stands for. And again,
so with the ox is the working animal, isn't it? It does the work for us, and gives us all these lovely ploughed fields. Also provides us food when we need it. I don't know if oxes give milk, but I doubt it, because an ox is a male.
Well, they're male, aren't they? The bulls, but yeah, they're the ones that transform. So if we're going to go on a life journey, and your life journey is your farm, now how are you going to transform it when you use it? The power of the ox transforms the land. Does that make sense?
That's great, thank you.
Right, okay. So the next thing is the name, and the name is the Fool. And the fool, as I said, is anybody. It's, as you look at it, the fool is the person who is looking at it. Okay, you are the fool. But it comes from the Latin follis. Now that means windbag. You know, like we would say, oh, they're just an old windbag, or take no notice of them, they're just an old windbag. But it also means bellows, and bellows, a life breath. So that's the life breath which would go into the prana materia and transform the environment. Arthur Waite, who was the guy responsible for the rider-waite pack, he said it's the state of the first emanation or primal aspect of universal consciousness. And Plato spoke of the fool as those who are able to see beyond the shadows and lies of their culture will never be understood, let alone believed by the masses. So you might have you've got a fool here, everybody thinks he's a fool, but he actually might be the man with the most wisdom in the place, but he's known as a fool.
Well, that's also because the fool sometimes sees things differently to what the general public and people think, and so because everybody feels secure in the majority of them all having their herd mentality or whatever, so someone coming with a different idea or a new way of looking or something is normally regarded as a foolish person.
Absolutely, yeah.
What the fool's doing, isn't it? He or she's bringing forth hopefully a new idea, a new way of thinking as they go on their journey.
He's about to set on a journey where you will learn more wisdom. Yeah, so and as you'll see, he's been on journeys. So you can see here he's stood on the edge of a cliff here, and you would think, well, that's not a very clever thing to do. No wonder he's a fool. But what this is telling you is that if you go off on your journey, think of that, be in the now. As well as being on the journey, always been in the now if you're going to learn. Because if he's not in the now, he's going to fall off the cliff. Okay, so that is, just keep that in mind, that you have to be in the now at the moment. And the other thing it's saying is that although he's on the edge of the cliff, he has one more little step available to him. Okay, so what this is saying is that no matter how far the life force takes you, there's always more. You can always have one more step. You'll never get to the limit of your possibilities. And that's what that little bit represents there as his little step. So he's standing on a mountain, okay, and he's free and easy, isn't he, really? Because he's very free and easy, sort of. But he's not worried about this at all. There's no worry in there. And he's looking ahead and he's looking forward. Now, most of the tarot of the major arcana, or the keys, not all of them have a directional aspect to them. So this, we think of this is the south here. Okay, this is the north. The background of the picture is the east, and the foreground is the west. Okay. So he's actually standing there and he's gazing northwest. Okay. Now, northwest in the Western mysteries represents initiation or the beginning of new enterprises. So he's ready there to go off on his new enterprise. I always wondered whether, you know, in the northwest of England where I am, that's where the Industrial Revolution began. I always wonder whether that was because it's in the northwest. But that's just.
I'm sure it's not a coincidence. There's something there, isn't there? It's a new beginning in the northwest.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, why not? Yeah. It's also where megalithic tours started from. just here. Sorry about keep moving these things. It's only a bit of paper. I'd off heavy. Right. So he's about to set off. So now to set off on his journey, he has to go back down to the valley. Okay.
So he's not jumping off the cliff.
No, he'll climb.
Right.
There's a path just there behind. There's a path. He's going to walk back down, and that makes me think of Psalm 23. Even though I walk through the shadow of the valley of death, I feel no evil. So he's off on his journey. He's going down to the dark valley, but he's happy, isn't it? And easy going. He's off. He's on his way. And this again reminds me of the dark night of the soul. So before your journey, of any journey, we were saying this in the last video as well, that a lot of people have to go through that dark night of the soul, and that sends them off on the journey. So sometimes when you're going through a bad time, it can be a very optimistic time in your life, because you can be set off on a journey of wisdom. So what I'll do now, if it's okay with you, I'll go through the various aspects of the card, of the actual picture, because we've talked about the number, we've talked about the name, and we've talked about the Hebrew letter. So I'll go through the card and I'll tell you what every little bit, or most of what little bits
That'd be great.
mean.
Yes, please.
Okay, right. So it's yellow. Okay, the whole thing is yellow. So the yellow is the colour that represents the life breath. So it's saying again, this is in the ancient mysteries, yellow represents life breath. So the whole thing is life breath. And he's also got yellow hair and he's got yellow boots. So as above and below, he's totally life breath full. Okay, he represents it fully. Now this up here, this is obviously the sun, but it's also the Sefer, Sephra Cather, on the Kabbalistic tree of life. It's right at the top, and it's at the top of the supernal triangle representing the Godhead, and so that is the Keth, and it's a white circle like that. So it's a two things: it's a Godhead, and it's also the sun. And it's at 45 degrees at the end of his magic wand here. So it never gets to its zenith, so it never sets. It's always there, shining on him, electric energy. So he has electric energy to go on his journey, to power him along there. Little thing is the green wreath at the top of his hair. That's the first form of life, which is plant life, and it's taking in the rays from the sun, and it's transforming it into, as plants do, through photosynthesis. And the red feather is part of the eagle, so that's bird life. It's just representing the different forms of the life force. Right, clothing, okay? He has various clothing on. Now, clothing in the mysteries represents your personality, because you are a walking spirit. So there's I can't remember the biblical line, he said you will be clothed in flesh or something like that. Same idea is that if you were just spirit walking around, you wouldn't be able to communicate. So you build up a person, what you call a personality. And your personality is what you use to interact with your environment, other people and everything. It's not you, your personality isn't you, it's something you've learned through your lifetime, and it's a tool to interact with others. So the clothes are his tool. The inner robe there is a white robe, okay, so that represents wisdom, okay, and round his neck, so you just about see it there,
He's got a nice
see those creases?
Yes, with the Hebrew names Hebrew letters in there.
You got it. That's the tetragrammaton, Yahweh, the thing we were speaking of that represents the prima materia, etc. So there he is with his robe, okay, but he's covered over with a black cloak. Now the black cloak represents ignorance, okay, but you can take the cloak off, and you notice here he's got a girdle. Oh, there we go, like a belt. Now the girdle, each one of those little gems represents a zodiacal sign. So by taking the girdle off, you're stepping out of time, you're taking time off, because the zodiac represents time as it goes throughout the year, okay? So then you can remove your cloak of ignorance, if you like. And the cloak of ignorance also has the red, and that represents passion or desire, which is very, very important in this story. We'll come to that in a second. Just a quick mention, all the little yellow circles, a majority of them, they represent journeys that he's been on before. You'll see there's spokes in it, so that's like a journey as it goes round, like a wheel. So each one of those little circles represents a journey he's been on previously. And then there's one just here, which is like a red flame. That flame is in the shape of shin. That's a Hebrew letter which means spirit. So he's got his spirit with him, and on his left shoulder there, he's got the moon and the sun. The sun, as we've said, it represents the energy force from the sun, which is electrical energy, and the moon is magnetic energy. So basically, he's got an electromagnetic power about him as he goes about his journey. Clever stuff, isn't it, really? I don't think there's all this here.
It is a strong energy, because this is what it's all about as well, isn't it? Energies. So the electromagnetic vibe is very important to this.
Yeah, I mean, if you started even thinking about that electrical energy thing, you could take a lifetime just absorbing that and what it really means. Because there's a lot there. Black wand, okay. Now the wand is obviously the magical wand of occultism, and you have your will. So you'll have your wand and you'll point it into the will. You point your will into the materia medica. Materia medica? That's a book. The prima materia. And,
stop thinking about booze.
Oh, it was nursing days, that was. And also it's a measure. It's a measuring stick. And the idea is you can measure your previous journeys and look at them with discernment. Discernment is a massively important thing in tarot, and it's a thing that is forgotten a lot in people's spiritual practices, but we'll go into that. We won't go into the red purse here. Now inside that red purse is what he's gathered from all these past journeys. All his memories are in that little purse there. That little wallet he's got on his end of his stick with the Eye of Horus on it. Now, so his past journeys obviously add up to wisdom. So all his wisdom, because your wisdom comes from your past journeys and the discernment, isn't it? So he's got it in his little wallet there. He's taking it with him, but he's not got it wrapped around him in fear. He's got it over his shoulder. If he needs it, it's there. The little white dog. Okay. Before we do the dog, we'll do the dog. We'll do the dog first. The little white dog represents intellect, because you've gone down from plant life and now you've got animal life. So that now you've got some intellect. That represents intellect. But the fool's keeping the intellect at heel. He's not letting the white dog lead the life force. It's there in case he needs it. He's discernment of his intellect, but it's not leading him. He's got it with him. He's got his intellect. He's got his wisdom, but he's heading off anyway. He's keeping them with him at hand, but he's not relying on them. It's not wrapped around him like a fear blanket. It's just there as available. Now this is an important aspect. The white rose. Okay. Now the white rose represents, whenever you see a rose, it always represents desire, and the white rose is purified desire. Okay. Now, if you're going to go on any journey, you need a desire. Otherwise, you would just sit at home. In the Western mysteries, it's called the desirer's quest. It's like you want to fill that hole within you, or you want to have a big desire to move forward. So that white rose represents that desire, which you need, because if you don't have it, you won't do anything.
So it's the same as an aim. You've got an aim for your journey. You're going for a reason.
An aim, but more. A desire, a real desire to find out. I really want to go and find out whatever next bit of wisdom there is to find out there. Or a name as well, yeah, both those things. But he's holding it very easily. There's no fear. And he's also holding a very prickly plant. So there's thorns there that he'll be holding on to. And the idea there is that he will have known that from past journeys, he will have gone through some very difficult times, but he's still going to hold that fear and hold it with him, hold those bad times he's had before, knowing there'll be more, but he's still going to go ahead. He's still going to do it. He's still going to carry on. So that is a very important sign, the white rose. So I think basically that is the fool, basically. That is him. Okay. So I would say as people set off on a journey or a cycle of consciousness, it's very important not to take any fear with you, to trust the universal power, but keep your wisdom and your intellect with you at all times, because discernment is very important. I'll say one last thing, straight from the ancient wisdom teachings: all the power that ever was or will be is here now. And that's it. That's the fool.
Thank you very much, Neil. That was great. And we're going to do some more on other cards, aren't we? We're going to continue and try and do the whole set of 22, just so everyone can see what the story is and go on the journey.
It'd be fantastic to get through them all, wouldn't it? The magician would be next, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's a long, it's 22 of them. It's a long job, but there we got. That can be our next journey, our next fool's journey.
And the project. Well, thank you very much, Neil. That was wonderful. And thank you, everybody, for listening. I'll put at the end how they can link to our first talk in case nobody hasn't seen it before.
Yeah, it'd be good to see the first one first, and then leads into this, isn't it?
Okay, then. Well, thank you very much. And until next time, praise be.
Thank you very much, David.